Welcome, Jeffrey. Now, there's no cricket on tonight, cable tracks, unfortunately. The Brisbane Heat won last night, so they're through to the finals, the eliminated final on Thursday night. So no cricket though, mate. Sorry. I'm sure everyone was loving the cricket commentary. Just hard out loving it. I make no promises. I'm not generally easily distracted, but who knows? Never know your luck in the big city. Haven't even turned anything on the TV actually. Oh, hello, Miss Jana. Welcome to the stream. Ah, Falcor. This is where he is. Not too progressed. Looks like we've had a camera malfunction early. Stand by. Alright, we're back. Yes, that's where old mate Falcor got up to. Not too far. He's a big bopper. G'day, Billy Goat. Did you ever watch that movie Stardust? I sort of imagine you look like the Billy Goat kid from Stardust. which I of course actually know not to be the case, but I'm going to pretend that it is the case anyway. And if you haven't seen that film, wow, you are missing out. What a treat of a film. De Niro just camping it up. Claire Danes in probably her finest ever role. Glorious, glorious film. Oh, and Michelle Pfeiffer. How could I forget Michelle Pfeiffer? Yeah, De Niro in drag, absolutely classic. Just full camp De Niro. Incredible. Love it. Was it just absolutely banger Monday today. Just absolutely banger. Exactly what you expect out of a Monday. Loved every second of it. Yeah, not great. Not a great day today. That's okay. Tomorrow's a new day. So the colour I'm currently using is Vallejo Off-White, and I am using this particular colour to basically re-undercoat the areas that I am about to paint. So one of the techniques I use a lot of is to over contrast and then glaze back down. So what you're seeing me do here is add high contrast by using this very bright white colour. Haha, good one, Jeffy. Bit of kitchen shopping, bit of IKEA. I used to love IKEA up here. Yeah, so the over contrast and under deliver is my painting method, but also over contrast and then glaze over the top. So it does two things. You smooth out the transitions that you've created with the over contrasting, but you create a higher value overall finish. So the reason I do this, and if you've ever tried painting yellow or red over a black, you'll know why I do this. But it is all about creating a bright colour underneath the colour that I'm using to add contrast. So if you've ever tried painting red over a black, you'll know it doesn't work all that well generally. Morning celery, or evening, depending on your location, which, as we know, for you, is morning. I'm not really up to speed on what emotes do or what they're for, but you got to admit that is a banger. That is a banger emote. G'day, Chroma. Don't forget the girls, mate. Katana Oni 77. Welcome to following. This is a very Eastern model for a very Eastern sounding name. I am not a full-time painter, mate. I am a part-time amateur that does it purely for fun. To paint this mini only by brush, it would take a while, I think. I mean, it depends. It depends what you're going for, right? But I feel like because of the way this model's sculpted, you really want to have some smooth blends, ultra smooth blends. Just getting some doggo updates from my girlfriend, which is great. Told you I'd get distracted. Little doggo. Yeah, no, amateur to the max, mate. I mean, definition of a professional is someone who is paid for their work, I guess. So, I mean, since I sell them, technically, am I a professional? Or is it professional someone who does it as a profession for a full-time employment? Look that up, Jeffy. Look that up, mate. What is a fucking professional in the context of this? Fair play. So we may end up doing a little bit more brush work on this than I initially anticipated. I thought it was going to be predominantly airbrush, but we'll see. We'll see. Well, I don't think that's actually the case, Kramer. Not by the definition of the term professional, anyway. But according to eBay, pro level painters, they're a dime a dozen. So maybe I am a pro painter. Billy Goat, no, his name is Hugo because my girlfriend thought that that was a very British sounding name, and then I anointed him with the middle name Hugo Boss, which she is not supportive of in any way, shape or form, so that's why it's starting to stick, which is great. Little Hugo Boss. Funny little dude. Yup. Afford to do it full time anyway. Don't think I'd want to do it full time though. People that do it full time as a profession, I think they lose a little bit of the joy. Guess it depends. There's a couple of guys that do Patreon full time, and I think teaching is one way that you can still find some joy in this, because sharing your knowledge and seeing other people develop, that's where you're getting your joy from. Yeah mate. I've so many people I've spoken to that are like, yeah, I'm going to do this for a career, miniature painting. I just end up hating it. Just end up hating doing it and dreading doing it. And I like doing it too much to want to dread doing it. Yeah, just marketing and spruiking yourself on social media and Yeah, I don't know. We've got to make a career in this crazy world somehow. Make enough money to pay the bills. Oh, g'day Jim. I have two lights set up. One is a daylight Lumi, which is right here beside the camera, just underneath the camera. You can see its knob end bit there. And then I have another one, which is my old task light, which is called a Task Light XL, and it is up here above this bad boy. Woo! About a foot above that. Try and get the pallet cam in stream at a reasonable light. The lighting is probably the one aspect of my setup that isn't great in terms of my lighting. So I'm going to upgrade the lights in this space soon. Probably. Why not? Why not indeed? I do probably more airbrushing than hand painting Archangel. Thank you for following. Yes, I'm actually adding some volumes now with a brush that I am going to airbrush over, probably in about 10 minutes when I finish them. Oh, thank you, mate. Fair bit of practice, but I firmly believe that pretty much anyone can develop the skills. Airbrushing is very tricky though, my experience. G'day Browntown. Thanks mate. Yeah, there's a few things that sort of thought about last night about how this model was progressing, and I felt like I really needed to do a little bit more with this guy because I didn't really have a firm... G'day Ours Groomy. Didn't really have a firm idea of where the piece was going, so I thought I might do a bit more on this guy and see if I can figure out what it's going to look like, which is probably a weird way, probably a weird thing for people to hear, because if you haven't followed my painting exploits before, I make a lot of shit up as I go. I do change part way through sometimes how I'm approaching a model, and so yeah, this may end up looking completely different to what it's looking like at the moment, but I am relatively happy with it right now, so let's see. Playing around is probably not the right term. I like to think of it as trying to find a voice for the model. You know, sometimes the sculpt itself is super easy for me to interpret the volumes, and I can just figure out what it's going to look like straight away. Other times I need to do some painting, feel some colours and see how it actually goes before I can make that call. So alright, let's do some airbrushing. Yeah, that's it. There's it's not generally like the sculpting or anything like that. Sometimes it is, like Lucas Pena, I seem to be able to just get it right most of the time, but yeah, sometimes I just need a bit of time to figure out how a model's going to look and what I'm going to do. How many models do I think I've done? A fair few. Let me answer that instead with a link. G'day, Cujo. There you go, Sweet Seco. That, not all the ones I've done, but that certainly will give you a bit of an idea of how many models I've painted in the last few years. It's probably a few, Cujo, it's probably a few. I was keeping track of the last few years, how many I painted across the year, just for sort of set myself a challenge to paint a certain number of pieces in a year. So yeah, last year I did 30 odd, 35 odd display pieces. The year before that I did somewhere around 50. And the year before that I did somewhere around 50 as well. So, so I set up for the first mission, or the first chapter rather, and played a little way through with one of the dudes, Sloan. And what I did when I played the first one, I found it took me about a few goes at the start to just like get a feel for it again. Or get a feel for it in the first place, and it just took me a while to get it. Slain, the big dude. So I played for probably 10 minutes. Hello, Dr. Magus. And 20 minutes or something, and got relatively far in the first chapter. It all started coming back to me, all the rules, and figured it all out and stuff like that. And then I decided that I would restart, because I wasn't really enjoying that dude's deck. He's one of the grey ones. And I tried playing Arev in the first mission, the first campaign, and I didn't really enjoy him. I actually played Neve with the that's the other reason you get a few things wrong. Playing Neve with the blue deck. So this time I thought I might try brown, like the wizardy one, wizard type. Awesome. Yeah, it's a good game. I think it's best at 1 or 2. I don't normally recommend it for more than 1 or 2, but yeah, it's good fun. What were you getting wrong, Cujo? If you've never played it before, Archangel, palette cam. Come on, palette cam, bring it back. Bring it all back to you. I'd recommend playing story mode, Archangel. Story mode just increased my level of enjoyment of the game significantly. That is the right word, Dr. Magus. It is extremely dynamic, and here is why it is so dynamic, because it is riding this dragon! I'm going to zoom out because I've moved my camera up a little bit so I can get more of the dragon in the shot. Woohoo! Dragon Rider! Oh, you'll have a good time, mate. I really enjoyed the campaign. I've actually played it about 18 months ago, because that was when the first wave arrived. Yeah, my expansion stuff just arrived, so getting back into it. I have, yes, Chroma. In fact, I have it right here. Yeah, that's a fair observation, Cujo. I mean, I think this is about the story for me. Like, I was interested in the story and playing the combat. So any time there was a dice roll that I needed to do to get past a certain stage, if I didn't get on the first try, I'd usually just get the old straight on through buttons. Yeah, so I wouldn't use the Vallejo liquid mask very often. So I use this stuff instead, Panzer Putty, when I'm going to mask stuff off. I don't do a lot of masking usually because I'm usually pretty precise with my airbrush, so I don't need to. But this is the stuff that I use. Awesome stuff. Feels super weird, by the way. And the reason is because this goes on and off in about 20 seconds. This goes on, then you have to dry it with a hairbrush, then you have to peel it off using blue tack and a toothpick thing sometimes. Can get a bit sticky, can occasionally peel paint off. It is really good though if you are planning on doing it, if you're planning on doing a whole section like skin tone, and then you want to do some other stuff with airbrush and keep working on the rest of the model without messing up the skin tone. This is the only way to do it, because this doesn't retain its shape for long periods of time. It's a weird amorphous blob shit that will lose its shape and will start to almost melt away from the model's line. So that's good for quick stuff. That's good for long-term masking, which, as I've said, I don't generally need to do that often. Bring it all back to you. Na, 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 na. Bring it on back now. Well, there you go. Non-Newtonian fluid. Fuck me sideways, I have no idea what that means. Science, yeah! But it sounds awesome. I just realised that my palette cam shakes when my airbrush machine is going. That's okay. I'm generally not using palette cam when I'm using my airbrush machine. Science! G'day, Rumble. It's time for a rumble in the jungle. Don't know, Jeffy. I was actually thinking about it today. A dude sent me a link. He was like, "Oh, what do you think of this compressor?" And I was like, "Shit, son, that looks pretty good. I might purchase that for myself, actually." I was thinking about it anyway, but no, I don't think I will. The compressor's been working a very long time for me, somewhere in the vicinity of 20 odd years. A girlfriend of mine from many years ago bought it for me, and it is an absolute cracker. So, till it goes, shits it on me. It'll probably keep its life going. You know what, Darren? I might just do that, pal. I might just do that. Say hi to Beck for me, eh? Yeah, say hi to your wife and my kids. Well, look at this. Not only are we getting to watch some substandard painting, we're also learning about non-Newtonian fluids in the chat. What an amazing day we're having. You'll get paid as soon as I start getting paid for it, mate. Hey, what are we playing tomorrow night? Keep hoping Toves is going to call in sick so we can have a 4-player Maracaibo. Oh, that's right, we are. We're playing side. Yes. I forgot that. Yes, that's awesome. 5-player side. Flickster. Good morning, champion. The Brisbane Heat had a big win. Through to the, I don't know what it's called now. Qualifier, I think. Something like that. Anyway, some stupid name for a final. But if they win that, they get into the grand final against the Sydney Sixers. It's happening on Thursday. Absolutely can't wait. It's going to be a cracker. Rumble in the jungle. Yes, Cujo, that is a matte varnish, the AK Interactive matte varnish. Magnificent product. Kills the shine on anything. Even contrast paints. I did, yes. I did get Kirill's book. I actually showed it on one of my first streams. I had a quick flick through it so everyone could have a little look at it. I think my brain started melting at about page 12, and then I just kept going, kept reading. I don't reckon I took anything in of the non-metallic metal chapters, which was actually the main bit I wanted to read. It's wild, really. But yeah, good book. Wouldn't recommend it for non-experienced painters though. Just be like an overload of information. Some of the other ones are better. Where's that shine gone? Wow. AK Interactive. Amazing. I can't believe it's not shiny. Whew. Very excited about the heat. Very excited. I know everyone that follows this stream is also an avid cricket fan and loves my cricket commentary. So, unfortunately, you're all probably going to miss out because the next game is on a Thursday night, and I don't stream on a Thursday night. I normally play board games. I was thinking about streaming my board games as well, actually. Some of my board games, I play a few solo games. Is that something I should think about doing, or is that just being ridiculous? Please do, mate. It's always the right moment. How's Groomy? Post it in the chat, friend. We've got Cujo on here tonight as well, so he's actually a good painter, so he'll be able to provide some good critique as well. Haha, I can stream Gaia Project. I quite like that game. I think that was my second most or third most played game last year. It was Mage Knight, Kingdom Death and Gaia Project. I think I cracked out like 30 odd games. Let me check my app, I'll tell you. Let me check my app. Yep, it was Gaia Project. It was only 16 games though. I thought it was more than that. Wonder what my all-time is. Yep, 16. It's really interesting seeing what rates highly on BGG and how often I agree with it and how often I disagree with it, because I did a little mission last year where I was playing the top 10 games on BGG, and Gaia Project's number 7, or was number 7 at the time. And it was interesting how much those, you could tell when there was a game that was in the top 10 that was just barely holding on to its position because it hadn't been bumped out yet. The Twilight Struggle was one of those. Just didn't. Shania Twained it for me. That don't impress me much. All right, let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this Instagram post. Carol Rudick. Oh, Lady of the Lake. Is it the bust version? It is. Let's see if I can get this on stream. If I possess the skill set to do so. There we go. Excellent. So let's interact with this. She's a cool bust. She's a really cool bust. That sword is excessive. So there's two things that jump out for me. The skin tone's great. Really well done. My my biggest takeaway is, and you'll have to excuse me, my friend, because anytime I'm asked for critique, I have aggressive or ultra aggressive critique. So we're going to go on the lower level of aggressive. The hair's shithouse, and the reason it's shithouse is because when you try to paint hair in individual strands, it tends to look messy, tends to look not right. So what I find you have to do with hair is treat it in clumps, and I'm going to grab some models to demonstrate that. Stand by. Right, I have returned. So, the skin tone's awesome. The hair's detracting from it for me for the moment. I will talk more about the contrast between the two in a moment. But here is Roman Gruber's piece, which I showed off on last night's stream. And I'm just going to zoom in and draw your attention to the way he's done the hair. Oh, look at that crystal clarity. Stop moving. There we go. So even though it's got individually sculpted strands, he's tended to focus on clumps, and he's only highlighted those strands at very, very small areas. So this section here is a great example. Even though there's individual strands there, the highlights have gone all the way through. The best example of this sort of stuff is actually if you go and look at like Pantene hair bottle commercials shit. The way that hair is hit by light, you don't really see individual strands. You see the light catching off the hair, and so to get hair looking, in my experience, the best, you want to have your majority of your highlights actually highlighting all the areas and not having those individual strands. And it's only at the very end when you highlight those final strands. So this little section up here, you can see I could have painted individual strands, but by instead focusing on the clumps, and I'll zoom out because that is pretty shithouse, but you can see that it looks a little bit more like hair. So the second issue with the hair is it's the same value as your skin tone. So you want to have a contrast between the hair and the skin, whereby the skin is a different value to the hair, because the hair will have really high reflections at those points, and then it will have generally a much lower value, so that the skin tone pops a little bit more. Again, if we had a look at this, and one thing that I like to do is put things in grayscale. I wonder if I can fucking do that on this camera. Let me just check my properties. Filters. Effect filters. Oh wow, can I do a grayscale? Shit, I think I can somehow. What's chroma key? Cancel. One of these fucking things will be grayscale, I'm sure of it. Yeah, Cujo's bang on there. There's multiple rules in miniature painting that I like to follow, but then there's also the number one rule, which is the rule of cool. So the rule of cool is you can do whatever the fuck you want. Is it saturation? I don't think it's saturation. Color correction, maybe? Color key, here we go. No. That's fucking not it. That's not it. That's not it. Stand by. That was an awful decision. Oh, look at this. Okay, but now I've got to figure out how I did that. What did I do? Filters. Remove. Boom. Excellent. So here is a great example of the difference between value and hue. So this skin tone is obviously significantly higher value than the hair, and you can see that quite clearly in grayscale. However, if we turn this, g'day Jen, if we turn this, oh shit, how did I do it again? Configure video. Oop. Turn this back, you can see that when you see the color, it looks very vibrant and like it's extremely high value. So this is a prime example of how you can separate value and hue. So I'm going to see how we go with this one. Oops. So this is obviously my work, and let's zoom in a little bit again. Here we go. Boom. So yeah, the skin tone is obviously not quite as high value as Gruber's was, but you can see there's a pretty clear delineation between the skin tone and the hair. This one will probably be a better version. Oh yes, there you go. Not as good as I'd hoped. So yes, those are the two aspects that immediately jumped out to me, my friend. And let's get rid of this rubbish and bring back your picture. So I think if you create more contrast by having the hair be a darker color, that will make the skin look more vibrant. And if you fix the highlights on the hair so it's more clumpy, it will look really, really good. But mate, that's a really beautiful skin tone. Smoky eyes. She's giving me the come hither glare. It's good shit. Get amongst it. But no, that's really, really nice. Keep us updated on how you go with the next stages, my friend. Mate, I wouldn't know what to do with a fucking hotkey. Wouldn't know how to do it, pal. I don't even know what that is, mate. What's a hotkey? Not much of a computer guy. That was a bit of facetiousness. I do actually know what a hotkey is. It's a key that's been sitting out in the sun for too long. Super useful tool, that grayscale thing. I learnt that in Meg Maple's class and have pretty much used it ever since then on just about every model I painted early on. I don't use it as much these days because my eye can usually spot when something needs more value versus more colour. So this will actually be a really interesting example. Let's do this one. So you can see that I have not got a lot of contrast. What an awesome name, Spurting Rectum. Yeah, I haven't got enough contrast in this area here, but that's something I'm working on, so don't worry. It'll come back. Wow, that was great. I'm glad I learned how to do that. That's very useful. Oh, Drax's rating! Woo, 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 woo! G'day Drax. Welcome, my friend. We're painting this this model from Robot Rocket Miniatures. She is, or he is rather, a dragon rider. This is his dragon. And he's flying on top of the dragon. So it's going to be sweet. No, the dragons, this is going to take a fairly long while for me, so probably a week or two, because it's just a big model. But we'll get there. We'll get there in the end, I think. This brush. No, this one's not box art, mate. I've maybe got a couple of box arts coming up actually. But no, I don't do too many box arts. Not good enough. This one is just for me to sell or keep. Whatever happens, we'll be fine. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't go out there advertising that I'm looking for them. So, but yeah, I just paint for myself. I've said it many times, I'll probably keep saying it. I paint for fun, and when you start adding other people's expectations onto that, it can be a little bit frustrating. So I don't do a lot of box arts or commissions or anything like that unless it's a model that I want to do and I get full creative control. I can tell people what I'm doing and how I do it. That's it. Don't take no shit from no one. It's got to be about the fun, mate. Yeah, it's got to be about the fun. I used to do it in the past, commissions, and it almost killed my love of painting. So I just don't do it anymore. I'm in the fortunate position that I don't need to for financial reasons, which is good. But yeah, I didn't have too many clients like that in the past. I did have one guy that wasn't happy with the finished product, and that was a bit upsetting. Upsetting is probably the right word. I was a bit sad about it because I did put a lot of effort in. But yeah. So these days I paint models that I love, and I get excited about painting, and that's it. And then every now and then people send me a message and say, hey Deno, did you paint that model for someone, or can I buy it? And I say, you can certainly buy it, friend. Here is my bank account details. Send me a very small sum of money so that I can purchase more models and continue this glorious process. Bruno Battlehammer turned up, by the way. My Bruno Battlehammer model, for those people that were on my stream from a little while back. I'm doing a big diorama with all of the companions of the hall. So I've now got Drizzt, I've got Caddy Bree, and I've got Bruno, and I've got Wolfgar and Guenwiviar and some other one. Which section? Oh, you're talking about that customer. Yeah. I think you just gotta tell them to fuck off, mate. Like seriously, like if they commission you to paint the model, let you paint the model. Just paint the fucking model. And then if they don't like it at the end, well, they've commissioned the wrong fucking person, haven't they? That's a cool one. I never got that one. If ex-painter is Trent Dennison, yes, I can paint in the style of that painter. If ex-painter is any other person, you can get absolutely fucked. We are being probably harsher on commission clients than is necessary because many of them are wonderful people and do everything without any issues at all. But yeah, you do get some grade A fuckwits up in there as well. So. Gotta be a week. I'll lock that in, mate. Lock that in. That is a good deal for me. Escalata! Flickster, mate, you weren't even on the stream, dickhead. You weren't even watching it, mate. Seriously. You can't just come in, swoop in after everyone's been watching the stream for a good solid 3 hours. Come in, pretend that you're participating the whole time, and then be like, "Hey man, why do you talk so much about cricket? Why don't you faff about and do no painting for 5 hours instead, like me?" Fair point. No one's ever offered me exposure for painting stuff. I wish they would, because I would love to be able to go, "Oi champ, check out my social media, pal. I don't need any exposure." That was a long time ago, Jeff. Matthew, I am 6'7", mate. Yes, that is why they call me Big Deno. Paint my arm and I'll put your logo on my website. Oh man, I could not imagine that happening. Yeah. Doofuses on the internet. Flickster's 6 foot. I would never have called that, mate. You look like about 4'3" in your pictures. 6 foot. What a monster. Yeah, don't you be picking on Jan, mate. He's a good friend of mine. Me and him went to different schools together. I don't remember you being over 6 foot, Jeffrey. Good bants. Good bants, friends. I miss my Pommy friends, actually. I've got a couple of great Pommy friends that, yeah, used to chat to all the time. Haven't been able to see them in a long time. Matthew Hart, Steamy, Jamie Perkins. Quite a few of those guys, actually. All great dudes. Very true, Jeffrey. And we are lucky for that. Yeah, I think Poms are Brits. Probably, anyway. I think it was actually, I remember I looked this up a while back. Yeah. Pomegranate. Yeah, I remember looking it up, and it was some weird slur that has sort of fallen out of use for being an actual slur. QJ, maybe I should stream some Mage Knight, mate. Would you like to watch that? I can show you how to be good at that game if you want. What do you mean tonight, Flickster? It's just my jam. I did tell you that my nickname when I was a footy player was Hammer Time, didn't I? I love to wear hammer pants. King touches. Yeah, it was, but not for the reasons you would think someone's called Hammer Time in a rugby league team. It was actually because I was playing Warhammer at the time, so they used to make fun of me. But I showed them. I then went out and earned the name Hammer Time for real. Smash some guys. Someone clip that. One of the funniest quotes actually of all of all time was back at a Warhammer tournament we played many years ago called Oktoberfest. And the dude who was running the tournament, Carwin, very lovely man, it was his first tournament that he'd run, first major one anyway. And he got up on stage and he was thanking everyone. And he goes, "We've had 80 guys in a room this weekend going hard at it." And the whole room just erupted. So obviously the implication was that they were having intimate relations. It was so funny, Jeff? Jeffy was there. Completely unintentional, of course. Completely unintentional. I'm big lover of league, mate. The stream's still going in March. Chum Dabs hasn't got us banned. Then no doubt there'll be some rugby league commentary going on in the background as well. Something to look forward to. Oh, Moopsy! Subscriber! For all of the Oz Machine fans, by the way, that are big fans of the show, all 11 of you. Moopsy's on the chat tonight. G'day, Moopsy. It might not actually be. Ah, yes. Big Deno emotes. Moopsy's got it on lockdown. Reunion night. Oh, Sharkwild, thanks, buddy. Also subscribing. Slides in there and gets rid of Moopsy from the latest subscriber list. Good job. Is that a hate? Is that a hate or something, mate? Moopsy played side last night. We're actually playing side tomorrow night, Moopsy. Partly because of how cool you telling us about side was, and partly because we talked about playing it last week. Good campaign though, Rise of Fenris. Rise of Fenris, high quality. High quality indeed. Yeah, the airships are fun. We at the end of the game, well, I won't say too much, but at the end of the campaign, it gives you some ways you can play the game slightly differently. which is super interesting. And at the end of the campaign, we were all just like, let's play some more Scythe, fuck yeah. I actually had 2 new games arrive in the last week. A game called Sleeping Gods, and the second wave of Tainted Grail. So, pretty excited about playing Tainted Grail. I really, really enjoyed the story in that. Gameplay was okay. Horrified, yeah, I saw pictures of it. It looks okay. Yeah. Nothing special. Got to get you on Maracaibo, mate. Fuck me. That is a cracker, Maracaibo. So good. It's just disappointing that we didn't get to do CanCon this year, Megatron. Could have introduced you to a few new games. Hanging out with you on Rickathon. You got Spirit Island, have you? Good for you. Yeah, get into Jaws of the Lion next, mate. That's got to be the next one. Of all of those 3, which I haven't actually played, all Journeys in Middle Earth yet, but I will. I would highly recommend Gloomhaven as the best of those. Spirit Island's fine. It's good. Best at 2 or 3. Yeah, Gloomhaven, get amongst it. My refrigerator, yes, it is running. Do you want me to go and chase it? Yeah, Root's good. Roots are good. Captain Crunk. Root, we went through a massive phase with Root. Good one. I think I've got a tape measure nearby. Let's measure it. Let's get on measuring. So here's the problem with Root. The problem with Root, and there isn't many problems with it because it's a fantastic game. That is 35 centimetres, 14 inches if you're an Imperial person, and 23 centimetres. Yeah, Root is on PC, really good port. I really enjoyed it. The problem with Root is when you play Root for the first time, you spend your whole game learning how the fuck your faction works. Because there's 4 different factions in the game, and the 4 factions that you play with each have a completely different way of playing the game and winning the game. So the first time you play that game, you need to learn how your faction works. So then you go on and you play your second game, and you can actually start to go, okay, cool, I've got to learn this new faction, unless you play the same one. But then you can start thinking about what other players are doing. But if you don't know how their faction works, then you're fucked anyway. It doesn't mean anything to you. So you almost need to have 8 games of Root playing each of the factions, and that's assuming you can pick up everything in your first game on how a faction works and understand its strengths and weaknesses, before you can then start playing the game at a high level, where you're actually making decisions about how to fuck up other players and making moves that will deny your opponent things and being, playing a strategy game. And so the problem is that if you are playing with a new person who's never played that before, then you can't not win, unless you actively play shithouse. And the problem is that if you don't do it right in the first place, no fucker wants to play it with you, because it feels super unbalanced when you're playing against someone who knows what they're doing. So put all that aside, if you had a dedicated group of about 4 or 5 players that were all willing to play that game over and over, I think it could be one of the best strategy games released in the last 5 years. I think it's phenomenal. But you couldn't say it was a great game based on how high the barrier to entry is for a board game anyway. Oh, thanks, Gallowfire. I quite like the name Big Denevry. I might use that. Big Danovery. But it is a glorious game. It is an absolutely glorious game. It wouldn't be my first choice for an area control though at the moment. I think probably my favourite. Oh, that guy. What was his name? Fucking Rodney or something. Legend. Rod? I can't remember. Fuck. Kemet is not one that I've got. One of the people in the group bought it for the recently released Kickstarter, re-released Kickstarter. So we'll get into it then. Chaos in the Old World, we have a dude with a copy of, yes. But my area control game of choice these days, if I was to pick one that I had to play, it would actually be a game called Lords of Hellas by Awakened Realms. Really, really, really cool game. So it's set in an ancient Greek world with techno robots and techno monsters and shit. So the theme just makes very little sense. I'm sure there's some justification of it in their background, but they put together a really good product, Awakened Realms, and that one, it's most area control games. The problem is that there's just area control, and so there's only the one way to win, which is good and bad, I suppose. But in Lords of Hellas, you have multiple win conditions, multiple ways that you can progress the game. You don't necessarily have to be advancing in area control, but you can. And you don't have to be advancing it on hunting monsters, you can. And you don't have to be advancing on building monuments, you can. And you don't have to be advancing on capturing and controlling cities, but you can. So all these things are win conditions. Yeah, that was actually the thing that initially turned me off it as well, mate. The techno stuff. It's like, why fucking just give me ancient Greece, mate. That's all I want. It looks fucking mad. But they didn't. Kind of like a point salad, but it all feels like it's working as a whole. Like in your turn, you get to move a hero around the map, and you also get to move some armies around the map. And your hero can go off doing quests or hunting monsters, and your armies move around and control cities and terrain. But your hero does things that will interact with your armies, and your armies can help your hero out. Your hero can fight in battles sometimes. It's just a really cool, interconnected game that if you want to play it in a specific way, you can, which I really liked about it. We're just talking about point salads. So we've got a really interesting gaming group that we play with on a Tuesday night. There's me and one other guy who are mad keen on like heavy, crunchy Euros, like really, really good, solid, thought-provoking games. Then we've got one guy who just likes playing anything, who's happy to play whatever. One guy who leans more towards not necessarily area control games, not necessarily Euros, but like pick up and drop off games, or just those sorts of titles. And then we have one guy who's shit at all the games. Yeah, Koki's happy to play whatever. He's getting better actually. He's getting pretty solid at some games. He's playing a lot of Through the Ages, the app on the phone. We've both been playing it non-stop for about the last 3 years. Fucking awesome. Yeah, Brass is up there for me. It was in my top 5 games in 2019. The Great Western Trail was my game for last year of that style, and I think this year it's going to be Maracaibo, barring an absolute red hot banger coming into the mix, because Maracaibo was phenomenal. Yes, anytime I'm painting like a rising sun, I'm never going to paint everything. I'm just going to paint the monsters. I don't want to paint all the humans. I've had enough of painting generic humans over and over. Hard pass. Yeah, don't do that, man. That's the worst. Yeah, I just painted the monsters. Maybe I'll grab out some Rising Sun models. Show a couple of those off. My painting, my gaming painting tends to be significantly different to my display painting. Awesome, I'll grab out some other ones I did. What does the fox say? I'm back. So here's some of the Oni. This is the Oni of Hate, maybe? No, he's not the Oni of... Oh, maybe he is. Yeah, Oni of Souls, there you go. Yeah. So he took 2.5 hours. So I tend to do a lot of airbrush tricks, a lot of like contrast paint tricks and that sort of stuff. This guy's the Oni of Blood. Super cool dude. Models are awesome, the artwork's awesome. I've only got to play with these guys once or twice. This is one of the little lucky gods. Cool dude. About an hour. Spent about an hour on him. So I just try to do super quick jobs, and this guy's called Hote, I think. Maybe. He's cool, he can replace Shintos in the shrines up the top. It's fucking mad. One of the best lucky gods. The other guy's Fukurokuju. He's the best lucky god, and this little monkey dude. This is the fucking funniest story if you've never heard this story about this guy. Kung Fu Shrew, this is from a board game called Rising Sun. So I'm going to tell you this story, and you can go look it up if you don't believe me. It's a fucking classic. So this model, so obviously Rising Sun was a Kickstarter game, right? So they were promoting the game, and they were releasing stretch goals, and they released a stretch goal for this guy, and his name's Kotahi, Kotahi, and there's a few people at the time who were like, I don't know who that fucking guy is. And this this model's just based on like a Chinese Monkey King guy, so no one sort of really looked into it too much. But anyway, after the campaign ended, someone was stumbling on Wikipedia and found a page about Japanese mythological gods, and there was this entry about Kotahi on this Wikipedia page. And it turns out that some little Kiwi legends had been on there trolling their mate, because his name was Kotahi, and he looked like a big old gorilla monkey guy. So they wrote in the Wikipedia entry in Japanese gods, Kotahi, a big monkey god. But anyway, so what, Kumini or not, have literally done their research for the game on a fucking Wikipedia page, and they've made a model out of this Wikipedia entry. And like, people have blown up about it. People have absolutely blown up about it. For real. Because like, how hard is it to fucking get a Japanese person to just have a little bo peep at your work and go, yeah, this seems accurate, mate, about my culture. No, let's use fucking Wikipedia as our research. And so anyway, this whole thing just ended up blowing up. There's a massive thread on the BGG forums. But this little New Zealand farmer, he comes from a country town of about 100 people. He's on the New Zealand news, right? They're interviewing him about it. Rising Sun sent him a copy of the game, full Kickstarter version of the game and everything for free. But like, to their credit, they didn't try to like double down on anything. They just said, yeah, no, sorry guys, we fucked up. Yeah, we fucked up. That's our bad. But this Kiwi dude anyway ended up getting his copy. But this dude lives on in infamy as a New Zealand farmer that made his way into a Japanese game. Great stuff. Good work. Good work, Comedy or Not. One of your best. It's a fantastic game, Rising Sun. I love it. I think of all of the Eric Lang games, it is the most strategic, but it is also similar to Root in that you have to develop a bit of a feel for the game. The other downside to it is if your people know how you play and how you think, they fuck you up, because it's a game about knowing how other people think. There's a lot of blind bidding and blind gambling stuff in the combat, which is awesome. Ank is going to be great. Moopsy, I'm very excited. I'm going to paint the shit out of those guys, I think. Alright, so we're going to do some dark green on this, I think. Maybe we'll do a little bit of this colour. Oh, g'day, badger. Blood Rage is probably the better game if you are not going to be playing a lot. If you're sort of non-serious, Blood Rage is a better game. Subscribe to your boy. No, you don't have to subscribe, friends. You should only subscribe if you're financially secure in these difficult economic times. We had this weird thing happen the other night, Moopsy, last night. There was this thing called the hype train. There was like 3 people subscribed in the 5-minute period, and all of a sudden there was buzzers going off, and it was like hype train. I still actually don't know what was happening, but it was pretty fucking cool. Chugga woo woo. Alright, Moopsy, have a good night, champion. Get into a little bit of 2-player Gloomhaven with Rickaton. Make it happen. Excited to hear about it. Thank you, Kung Fu Shrew. It's supposed to be predominantly yellow as opposed to green, but that is A-OK. I did want some green tones in there as well. It looks like I'm doing a shit job here. It's okay, because I'm just preparing the way for some airbrushing. So don't stress. Don't worry yourself. Things will work out fine. We hope. Two things I do to help prevent this scratchiness, mate. The first is use a little bit of this Joe Sonia Magic Mix. Helps the paint stay workable for longer, and also helps the the pigment distribution at the end. And the second thing I'm doing is practicing. I'm doing it all the time. Shark, that's very, very amusing, mate. Very amusing indeed. Alright, let's do some more airbrushing. Love just cracking out the airbrush. Just a bit of funsies. Indeed. Joe Sonia is just a brand Kung Fu shrew. This is what it looks like. It is a product you can purchase from probably your local art store, hobby store. It's several things actually. It is a extender and a sealer that's supposed to dry matte. So it works. It's double action. It's great stuff. All right, let's hope I actually know what I'm doing here, because this could be awful if I talk about how good I am at this shit and then it comes out shit house. I'm sure we'll be fine. Yes, that's the problem with Flow Improver, is it dries glossy. The Joe Sonia does actually dry glossy as well, eventually, if you do enough layers, which is why I use the AK Interactive Ultra Matte. So if anyone was watching earlier, any glaze medium will be fine. It doesn't need to be a specific brand. What you're looking for probably is a drying retarder, more so than a medium. A drying retarder will be what you're looking for to help. Dear oh dear, we might have to mix up some of my special airbrush mixture in a minute. Appear to be running short. So part of the problem with my initial colours and what I did yesterday is that it was a little bit too saturated. Now I'm all about that saturation life, but this was too saturated. It was giving my eyeballs problems. So what I've tried to do is create some contrast between the saturated yellow and then the desaturated green. So that's sort of what I've been trying to do tonight to make things a little bit more homogeneous. Create some more contrast. No one even looks at the back anyway. So those who were on the stream earlier would have seen me do some cool shit where I looked at this in grayscale so we could see the contrast in the cloak. We saw there probably wasn't enough. So I'm actually going to do that again now and see how it looks now, because I think we will have a bit of an improvement now. Let's have a Bo Peep. Yeah, there's still green in there. Look, I still want the green in there, but yeah. Cool. See how we've got more light to dark now in the skin tone in the cloaks. So good. Very good. I may just actually add some little nuances of colour in there now. This could be a mistake. Let's see. Never know your luck. Got to try some things sometimes. There's only one colour that I've found for yellow, and that is this Soul Yellow from scale colour. This is the yellow to end all yellows. Coverage, everything. Chimera's cold yellow comes close. Good plan, Sharkwild. Good plan, mate. Good plan. All right. So we're going okay now. I feel pretty good about this. So I'm going to do some designs, some patterns on the cloak of some description. And I'm going to do that little inside fabric now because I don't think I'll be doing too many. G'day Loophole. Don't think I'll be doing too many more big airbrushes. Probably do some smaller airbrushes, but that'll probably be it for the big ones. And taller too, mate, don't forget that. Flickster, what a short man you are. What a short man you are. We are going to have to mix up some more. You can all observe this. See if I can get this fucker off. Off you come. Thank you. I'll zoom out a smidge. Alright, so first cab off the rank, we are going to add in some airbrush thinner from Vallejo. Next we're going to add some water based off of my tap. And then we're just going to add some of this gear. And we're going to give it a little shake. Oh, I'm sorry, Flickster, I didn't mean to bore you, mate. You're probably my favourite painter that I've subscribed to this year. That's correct, yes. Doesn't make my statement any less true. So one really cool thing that I use the airbrush for, which I actually do think is awesome. So I just did some work on the skin tone there, where I actually airbrush it with all the colours. Just adds some nuance to the skin that's in a similar colour palette to the rest of the model, which helps reinforce that those two elements are in the same environment. If you do it too much, it looks stupid. So you have to be a little bit subtle with it. Yeah. We're going okay on this guy. Relatively happy so far. Flinkster, you superstar. If you're not following Flinkster, go and follow him. He's better than I am. Good work, Loophole. Thank you, mate. Yes, he's going alright so far. Felt like I needed to figure out what was happening with him before I started getting too deep on the dragon. Good for you, Loophole. Keep that exercise going, mate. Went for a run today, Big Deno did. Pretty happy with that. Yes, I know, mate. I know what a stand-up is. I do work in a, well, not really a corporate environment, but I'm familiar with the term stand-up. You know, the reason for them to be stand-ups is so that people have exercise, so they don't just sit at their desk, right? Come on, guys. IQ like 160 over here. Calm down. I am a sales and operations manager for a company called Goodyear Dunlop Tyres. I have been employed with said company for 17 years. Yes, I am the Michael Scott of Goodyear Tyres. I do indeed sell some rubber. I'll give you another one of my favourite jokes. I came up with a banger joke yesterday, which people will have to go back and watch the stream because I'm not going to repeat a joke. But a great joke is that I like to use in the tyre game is what's the difference between one used tyre and 1,000 used condoms? One's a good year, the other's a fucking great year. You're welcome. Thank you. A little tyre joke. A little tyre joke for you. It's a little something of what I bring to the table there, friends. Look, there's a reason this isn't a stand-up comedy routine on my stream, alright? Just pay a little bit of respect, Sharkwold. Mate, everyone laughs at me in the office. I've got to stay in my good books. Indeed, indeed. No, I actually enjoy what I do. I work with a very good bunch of people in a company that's been around for a long, long time. Very proud of the proactive nature of the business. We have a lot of awesome initiatives. My company was one that Donald Trump actively called out last year, so I feel like if that's the sort of company I like to work for, just quietly. I'll try not to be too political on here. I'm sure we have many people from all walks of life. Plexelgon's our latest follower. Good for you, mate. Plexelgon. I'm doing the painting bit that I enjoy the most now, which is, so I've done all the base coats, I've done all the boring stuff. It takes a while, and now I get to spend time just doing cool little blendy bits and transitions and adding colours, the fun stuff. Yes, I have put greens in the skin tone, mate. One thing that's important to keep in mind about this, and it may not have been immediately evident from my painting, the actual, so this block is holding him at this angle, but the actual model sits at this angle. So if you have a look at some of the highlighting I've done on this leg, it maybe looks a little bit inaccurate, or a little bit wrong, especially when you're seeing it like this. You can see how this sort of looks very prominent there, this shadow, but when you tilt it to this angle, which is the angle where these two, the foot and the hand, are lined up on the top of his head, you can see that shadow looks a little bit more accurate. G'day Slamguinius, cool name. So that's probably not immediately evident that I was doing that, but yeah, one of the things you really have to keep in mind when you're doing sub-assemblies, particularly of these sorts of models where the lighting is really crucial, you have to get it right when you're thinking about the actual plinth itself that you're holding it on. I wasn't talking. Is my mic gone off? Hello. Very good. Very good. No, just got sort of invested in what I was doing. Yeah, fair call, Jeffy. Fair call. I do enjoy the sound of my own voice. You're a flutterer, Jeff. Let's see if we can go real deep here. I don't sound Australian. Well, I am, kid. Pay attention. Yeah, you fucking tell him. Sort him out. So interesting here, I'm trying to paint a non-Caucasian skin tone, which is not something I do often. And it's forcing me to sort of think a little bit differently about some of the colours I'm using in the skin tone, which is neat. Neato. I enjoy that. Yes, African skin tones. I've done a few of them. Very hard for me to get them right. Haven't done enough practice on them, so I should definitely do some more. Splice, pine lime. Oh, g'day, Paul. Have we come up with a name for fans of the show? What are we going to call fans of the show? Big Denolings? Big Denos? Wow, these eyes are tiny. Denizens. Yeah, good call. That's a good call. Tiny eyes. Hard to paint eyes when you're talking. Especially ones that are this teensy. It's always the fucking left eye. I can never get the fucking left eye right. Not too bad. I meant left from my perspective, not her left eye, his left eye. Deno voyeurs. Saucy. Now I think denizens is a very clear choice there, isn't it? Denizens. Denizens of the big deno. Jeff, you are always banging on about my OnlyFans, mate. Is there something you're trying to tell me? Do you want me to get an OnlyFans set up for you, mate? Because I will for you, mate. I will for you. Ah, James. James, look, I feel like the only logical way to react when Games Workshop doesn't release an FAQ that you expect is to just have a fat rant online. Probably throw as many of your toys out at the cot as you can, and then get together with your mates and write some new points. Write some new point systems. I think is the way to go. Let's just throw the whole kit and the whole toilet sink at it, and the kitchen sink. Just every sink that you've got available, just have a massive cry and throw that straight there. That's what I reckon. Did that camera just change colour balance? Do I need to fucking change some settings so that it doesn't tweak with colour balance? It's actually really useful being able to look at the camera live and look at how bad my eyes are in close up, isn't it? Pretty good. Pretty useful, I suppose. Oh, you're very welcome, Denny. You're very welcome, Denny. Alright, we'll come back to them. Simon, it was all time. It was all time dummy spit about it. I was like, come on, mate. Yes, he has got 2 little lumps on his forehead. They're little, I don't know, some little markings or maybe, what are those things? Little piercings maybe? Don't know. We'll have a little tweak with those when we get around to the skin tone being finished. Oh, maybe he's like an Oni in disguise. Maybe that's his go. He's got some big old horns on his head that are just hidden away. I don't know, actually. I got no idea what the background, the premise of this is. I love it, though. Maybe he could be an Oni in training, I suppose. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe. Thanks, Scrapper. Which blend are you referring to, mate? Because I'd love to know. If you're talking about the yellow, you can thank the wonders of the airbrush. No actual skill involved. Cloak Jeffrey. Cloak. So this colour I'm about to use is a colour called German Yellow. Very cool colour actually, because it's extremely desaturated. It's an extremely desaturated yellow, creamy yellow. And so I'm going to use that to highlight this area that I've just done, so we keep the saturation levels low. I do know how much I get if someone subs Moops. It's clearly laid out in the terms of my affiliate contract. It depends on which level they subscribe at. Rort is spelled R-O-R-T, buddy. Vallejo, problematic grey, yes. They've actually got quite a few. They've got this one, German uniform. And German yellow. We used to go through this phase where we would say the Spanish names instead of the actual colours. Gavin and I, when we were chatting about paints. Gavin, pass me the Rojo Negro. The Rojo Negro. Black red. Very good fun. Ah, yes, my good friend Gavin. Good friend Gavin. What was I up to? Yes, that's right, I was doing my German yellow bits. And look at all this. I love the Spanish guys. Tried learning a language a few years ago. Tried learning Italian. I got a little bit of Italian in me, but not a lot. By that I mean I've got a little bit of Italian that I can speak in me, not my heritage is Italian, because it's most definitely not. We had a very fun, every time I visit another country I like to just mix it up and try to speak in that language, asking for the bill, you know, just very basic things, just try and get into the culture a bit. And my brother-in-law was doing the same when we went overseas. We were in beautiful town in Italy called Florence, Firenze, and he asked for the bill. He said, "Il conto por favore," and that is unfortunately not, "Can I have the bill, please?" It is, "Can I have a glass of?" No, that's right. Sorry, I'm getting my story mixed up. He got it wrong in Italy as well, but he actually asked for the bill in Germany, no, in Austria, and he said "Erstattung der Rechnung," which is "Can I have the bill?" in German, but he actually said "Erstattung der Rechnung," and the guy misheard him and thought he said "Rechling," which is a wine, and so we're all like, yeah, ready to go, packing up our stuff, and the waiter comes over brandishing a bottle of white wine, which is great. And then I think he got it wrong as well when we're in Italy. I think he said "il conto" instead of "il conte," but I can't remember what that means. Very funny. If you're still around, Freezer, that was Damo, your good mate Damo, my brother-in-law. Takanoko, what, the game? Tokaido, what are you referring to? Both of those board games. Maracaibo. Is that the one you're talking about? Talked about Maracaibo a lot. It's going to be in my top 5 games of the year. This stage is a strong contender for number 1. Yeah, Maracaibo is probably it. Set in the Caribbean, you play the role of a merchant / pirate / smuggler / explorer, and you control a little vessel that travels around the Caribbean, allying itself with whoever they want to. It's set in the period when, a pretty awful period in time actually for the people of the Caribbean. Actually reference it in the rule book. You can ally with the Spain train, you can ally with the French, you can ally with the English, and the game is all about scoring victory points, as most of them are, and you have to further the cause of one of those 3 nations, but while you're doing that, other players are doing the same thing, taking over control of villages and towns in that area. It's phenomenal game. Love it. It's such a weird model. This is such a different model to what I normally paint. Like, I very rarely paint models with this much fabric, and especially this type of fabric, like the way it's sculpted. Everything about it just feels like unfinished to me. I've been painting it for fucking 3 hours. Normally I'm half finished a model by then, if not already finished. So, and the cloak's still a long way from being finished. Sword looks cool. Skin tone's okay. I'm pretty happy with the skin tone at the moment. I haven't played Dune Imperium. No, it's been on my radar. Been on my radar a bit recently, but I haven't played it. No, I'll get around to it. I was actually thinking today, Moops, about playing Great Western Trail with you and Ricky, and like how I would approach trying to teach you guys how to play that game, because that is a fucking ridiculous game. Yeah, it's spot on, Kung Fu. It's the shapes, the volumes are so different to what you normally see, and so I'm a bit stuck on how to make them look good. I think when I add patterns on the cloak, that'll help bring a sense of something to it. But I feel like at the moment I need to do a line around the outside of the cloak just to break up the lines a little bit or something. I'm not sure. I have to have a think about it some more. But the good news is we're still just painting models and toy soldiers. It's all very relaxing and fun. Yeah, incredible sculpt. Great movement in the sculpt. Great dynamism. I tell you, the one downside with it for freehand is it's going to be really tricky to try and follow the shape of the fabric. You know how you want to try and, like when you're doing freehand, you have to follow the shape. Otherwise it doesn't look right. Like if you just paint the design straight on there, look shit house. It's going to be hard to do. Yes, embroidery or some sort of patterns on there. It's going to be cool. It's going to look cool. It's just going to be it'll work. Oh, Falcor head, that's a stretch. I think you overestimating my freehanding abilities, mate. Like if I can get a round looking circle. Yeah, I've got skills. What are you going to do about it? Yes, mate. I feel ya. I just set up Tainted Grail tonight to play that, and then I had another one turn up called Sleeping Gods, which is going to be ridiculously cool as well. So yes, I feel ya. We played Abyss the other night, which is a new one. We played, obviously, Maracaibo. The good thing about board games, man, is like you can. That's a cool thing. You can just play a couple of them and then move on. You don't have to play like 550 games of War Machine to get a good handle on something. You can just have a couple of games and move on if it's not something you enjoy, or if it is something you enjoy, like Wingspan, you can just play the shit out of it. It's good. But I genuinely think you need to get onto Gloomhaven, because that was such an experience for Koki and I. You remember how much I was banging on about it? Seriously. Fuck, man, I wouldn't stop talking about Gloomhaven. We finished the whole campaign in about 3 months, Koki and I. Yes, I have played some tabletop role-playing games in my time. Start of the year, Koki and my other friends, we were playing in a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, 5th edition. I was a very big fan of Pathfinder. Back in the day, 3.5, Dungeons and Dragons, loved 3.5. Yeah, Gloomhaven, it strikes the perfect balance for me, and I think it will for you guys as well, between playing like a dungeon crawler, which is the aesthetic and the vibe that I fucking love, but not just being a dice chucker, and actually being all about the strategy of choosing the cards and making decisions and playing the actual strategy of the game. It's sublime. Yeah, no, it's definitely a two-player game. Koki and I played it too. I think we played a couple of 3 players, like, because the cool thing is you can just sub someone in whenever you want. So you can just, like, if one of your mates rocks up for a weekend, you can play like 3 or 4 missions and have 3 players, and it's fine, and then you can keep going into campaign. Very cleverly designed game. But yeah, I found it best at 2 as well. It's just what I found most amazing about Gloomhaven was how invested I was in the unlocking of the boxes and shit. You know, like they're nothing special. They're just like a new character or whatever, and I was just so fucking into it. I was like, I could not wait to open a box. I was getting super excited about, I wonder what this guy's going to be like and what cool stuff we're going to learn. And in the end, yeah, like some of my favourite board game experiences was opening up a new legacy character in Gloomhaven and then learning how it runs and cool stuff you can do. Oh man, it's fucking the best. The fucking best. My 2 favourite classes were unlockables. My third was actually one of the starting ones, which is cool. Like the starting ones didn't feel any weaker than the new ones, although one or two of the legacy ones felt a little bit stronger. I did kickstart Frosthaven, yes. We have five guys that play every Tuesday night, and we'll usually play a second or third night a week as well. And yeah, all of us buy games. We try not to double dip too often, but we all have like other people that we play with as well. So sometimes we'll be like, "Oh, did you buy that? Yeah, I bought 5 of them. Yep, yeah, me too." G'day, Sunny Ann. Doomstalker and Berserker were just my fucking jam, man. It's fucking so good. Those two guys. The Doomstalker was just the most legit. Loved it. Jaws of the Lion is supposed to be really, really great for introducing people into the game, but I don't know that it's got any legacy elements. I'm not sure. I haven't read too much into it. So you'll miss that, Moops, but I think you'll get so much value out of the card play and the actual strategy of playing that you'll dig it. You'll dig it. Yeah. Like the Doomstalker had 12 base cards. I don't know how that guy has 12. Like, what did they think he was going to be, a fucking summoner or something? No, champ. I'm just going to fucking play all of these range attacks and fuck you up. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I read you can do that. That's pretty cool. I mean, I wouldn't, probably, because there's 17 classes in Gloomhaven. So, but it's cool that you can. I don't know if you looked into Frosthaven much, but the classes in Frosthaven, the starting classes, look way more complex than the starting classes in Gloomhaven. So I don't think it's going to have as many easy introductions. Moopsy, in Gloomhaven, the core game, not Jaws of the Lion, you open the box of the game and there are 6 characters that are available to be played. There are 11 boxes that are sealed and 4 sealed envelopes that you only get to open at certain points in the game when you've completed certain quests and objectives. And you also have the ability to upgrade cards with specific upgrades that are permanent changes to the card. So the term legacy means it's a game that you play through once, and as the game progresses it changes and evolves and turns into something new. So in Gloomhaven's case, you open up access to different characters that you can choose to play. The characters that you are playing, their base cards that you start with, get leveled up and improved. All the while, the characters that you unlock have completely different play styles and open up different story events that occur, different road events, different city events. So, Pandemic Legacy is probably the progenitor of that type of game, legacy games. There's been a lot of done it since. G'day, SCA Art. Thanks for following. Oh yeah, it's so good. Legacy is just so good. Yeah. I think it's actually that one of the starting classes is called a Blink, and it's got 2 modes, fast mode and slow mode, which just looked like super complex when I was reading through it. And there's a Necromancer, dude called the Banner Sphere, some other ones, can't remember. SCA Art, welcome to the stream. We're painting a cool dragon guy. Blink, K, blink, boop 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 boop. As in blink and you miss it. Oh shit, it's almost 10 o'clock, friends. It's almost time for Big Deno to head off to bed. Actually, what's probably going to happen is it's a third eye. I'm actually probably going to go over to my board games table and play some Tainted Grail, actually. Which should be fun. Yes, actually, Kung Fu. I played a game of Gloomhaven with another friend of mine, Sheldon, a little while back, probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, because he knew I had a copy and he was like, "Hey man, can you come and teach me and my wife how to play, because I'm thinking about buying it and just want to know if it's something we'll like." And I was like, "Shit, yeah, I'll teach you how to play Gloomhaven." 7:30, mate. Not too bad. Not an early start. So yeah, I cracked out I reset the whole game, reset the box, because we finished the campaign, and yeah, got onto a little bit of Gloomhavens with them. Played the first scenario, Black Barrow, I think it's called. Oh, is it called Black Barrow? I can't remember the first one. One of them's called Black Barrow. One of the first two. Yeah, taught him how to play, and I played as the brute, a spell weaver and a mind thief, and I fell in love with the game again. I fell back in love with it. I was like, "Okay, I want to go play some Gloomhaven now." How good's that? So I'm hoping they do end up buying it so I can go and play some missions with them. Alright, some reasonable progress tonight on these two friends. We'll need to do some more greens in this just to tie the two together a little bit. So, yes, looking forward to doing some more on this dude. We're doing some airbrushing next on the skin tone, and we'll probably try and do some of these fur bits there. I'm really excited about the scales there. I just got super excited about painting them because they're super fun and easy to paint well. This skin tone this skin is going to be quite a significant job to make it look good. So I'm looking forward to diving into that a little bit. But I think we will probably continue with this guy next time. See if I can make that fabric look a little bit better. And yeah, I think we'll just have to add some patterning and stuff to it. That might help overall. But yeah, I like the skin tone and the all this stuff in there is coming along. So very good. All right, friends, we're going to do a raid tonight. I don't know, Matt. Probably the fur bits. I'll do some green tones in them. Make it up as we go along, pal. We're going to try and do some raiding tonight. I'm really good at raiding. You guys know. We're going to pick a live channel to raid. Denizens, with a Z, mate. Denizens. Actually, I forget. Hang on, I've got to find a live channel. I'm not sure how to do that really. Who's that, mate? Let me go and find him. Twitch. Yes, Phoenix. Is he online? Is he Phoenix Miniature Art? Oh, awesome. Yeah, we'll go him. He's a mad guy. Yes. He's the go. Alright, let's raid that guy. Let's do this.